They told you that being kind would heal the world, but they never told you it might destroy your energy. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet exhaustion after helping someone, that invisible emptiness that no amount of rest can fix. You give your light freely, and somehow it keeps dimming. You pour your heart into others, and they walk away lighter while you feel heavier. What if this isn't just emotional burnout, but a quantum transaction? What if every act of helping you do from guilt, fear, or the need to be good is actually sending a signal into the quantum field? A signal that allows your energy to be siphoned. What if the universe, in its precise mathematics, is not rewarding your kindness, but mirroring your imbalance? You think you're saving others, but the field is quietly testing if you can save yourself. This is the hidden physics behind empathy. The reason lightworkers and healers often feel more drained than those they serve. You're not broken. You're not too sensitive. You're entangled in an ancient mechanism, the quantum trap of helping. And the moment you see it, the moment you understand how the field works, everything changes. Because when you finally stop giving from depletion and start radiating from coherence, the same energy that once drained you begins to return. Your reality reorganizes, your timeline upgrades. You stop leaking power and start bending the field itself. Now, let's decode the 7 quantum signs that reveal how this trap operates and how you can break it forever. Every time you rush to help, comfort, or save someone, a subtle energetic exchange begins that most never see. The quantum field, the unseen intelligence that mirrors every vibration, detects your emotional signal the instant you move from empathy to overextension. When your motivation shifts from genuine resonance to the need to fix, rescue, or prove your goodness, the field reads it as an imbalance in frequency. It interprets your urgency as a form of energetic debt, and its law is to restore balance by taking back what you gave in excess. So while you believe you are acting from love, in energetic language, you are transmitting scarcity, a silent statement that someone else's harmony matters more than your own. This creates what mystics call an inverted current. Your life force, meant to circulate within your own electromagnetic orbit, begins flowing outward unchecked. The people you help may temporarily feel lighter, but you feel subtly drained, heavy, or even invisible. The paradox is that the more you give from misalignment, the more the field mirrors situations that require you to give again. It becomes a repeating pattern, helpers surrounded by endless need. But none of this is punishment. It's feedback. The field is showing you that compassion without energetic boundaries collapses into codependency, that love without self-containment becomes a leak in the system. The way out is awareness. When you feel the impulse to fix, pause, sense where that energy comes from. Is it true resonance or emotional reflex? Real compassion empowers both giver and receiver. False compassion extracts light from one to fuel the illusion of balance in another. The moment you recognize the difference, the hook releases. The field no longer drains you. It begins to orbit around your stability, mirroring the strength of your centered heart instead of the weakness of your self-forgetting. Energy never lies. When you give from obligation, fear of rejection, or the subtle hope of being valued, your aura begins to lose structural integrity. The human energy field isn't metaphorical. It's a measurable electromagnetic system that responds to emotion and intention like plasma responds to current. When your intention bends toward guilt or validation, your photons scatter. The once coherent geometry of your field, the lattice that holds your power, starts to dissolve, and you feel it as exhaustion, numbness, or emotional fog. You might still smile, still say, "I'm fine," but your light is quietly bleeding into everything you touch. This leakage doesn't happen because kindness is wrong. It happens because your kindness lost coherence. Real energy exchange occurs when two complete systems share from overflow. But when you give while empty, the quantum field detects a vibrational deficit and moves to correct it. It allows your particles to drift, to release charge until the imbalance is restored. The more you force yourself to be the light when you're actually dim inside, the faster your internal grid destabilizes. You start absorbing emotions that aren't yours. You take on frequencies from others and mistake them for compassion. The field isn't punishing you, it's mirroring your state. Every photon carries instruction: expand or contract. When you give unconsciously, the instruction becomes chaos, and chaos invites drain. But when you pause and breathe your energy back into yourself, coherence returns. Your aura reseals, light becomes dense again, and you feel warmth in your solar plexus, the sensation of containment. That's when true service begins, when you give without losing structure, when your compassion strengthens your boundaries instead of dissolving them. This is not selfishness, it's quantum hygiene, the physics of sovereignty. In the architecture of the quantum field, energy is neutral. It only follows command through vibration. Every thought, every emotional gesture, every act of giving or taking sends a frequency pattern into the lattice of reality. When you give without awareness, when you pour energy into others from lack or guilt, the field interprets that as a signal of hierarchy. You beneath, they above. The field doesn't moralize. It simply amplifies what you broadcast. If your energy says "I owe," the field creates experiences where others appear to take. This is not cruelty. It's physics in motion. Those who unconsciously absorb your energy, the ones you label takers, aren't villains. They're participants in a balancing algorithm. Their frequency stabilizes by pulling from yours because your signal invited it. Every ungrounded act of generosity sends an open broadcast: my energy is available. The universe obeys that command with mathematical precision. You'll start noticing patterns: people drawn to your warmth when they're empty, situations that need your constant repair, emotional entanglements that never reciprocate. Each of these is the field teaching you a hidden lesson about energetic economics. In this system, overgiving collapses your currency. You can't circulate energy that you no longer hold. The field doesn't reward depletion. It mirrors equilibrium. When you start giving from overflow instead of emptiness, the pattern reverses. Those who once drained you begin to fade from your timeline, replaced by balanced exchanges that amplify you both. The moment you realize the field is neutral, not moral, everything changes. You stop trying to be good and start learning how to be aligned. The universe doesn't bless sacrifice, it responds to coherence. And coherence is the new wealth of the awakened empath. Empathy is one of the most beautiful frequencies a human can emit, but it is also one of the most misunderstood. To feel deeply is to sense the vibration of another soul, to translate emotion into resonance. Yet when empathy goes untrained, when it flows without boundary, it becomes an energetic broadcast that tells the field, you can enter here. This is the moment empathy transforms into a signal of permission. Your heart opens, your field softens, and instead of connection, you experience infiltration. The energies of others, fear, pain, confusion, trauma, begin to move through your system as if they were your own. You start carrying frequencies that were never meant to live inside your body. This is how energetic entanglement begins. In quantum terms, observation creates connection. When you focus on someone suffering long enough, your consciousness merges with their field. The quantum field recognizes your attention as an energetic bridge and instantly shares information, emotional, mental, and even cellular data between both systems. You don't simply feel their pain, you absorb its pattern. Over time, this creates energetic confusion. You can no longer tell which thoughts or emotions are truly yours. You might feel sadness without a cause, exhaustion without reason, anxiety that appears out of nowhere. These are not random feelings. They are energetic echoes from others you've unconsciously invited into your frequency. The field is always literal. It assumes your empathy equals consent. When you lean too far into another's emotional gravity, the field doesn't judge. It calculates. It measures your focus and reallocates energy flow accordingly. The longer you hold your awareness on someone's chaos, the stronger the quantum tether becomes. In essence, you begin to co-author their timeline, feeding their system with your charge. You may believe you're helping, but energetically, you're financing their reality at the expense of your own. This is the invisible mechanism behind emotional fatigue, burnout, and the sensation that your light has dimmed after certain interactions. But there's a deeper layer. Many empaths develop their sensitivity as a survival mechanism. Long before you learned the language of energy, your nervous system adapted to read the emotions of others as a way to stay safe, loved, or accepted. You learned that harmony depended on your ability to sense and soothe external chaos. That program still runs in your energy field. When you meet someone unstable, that inner code activates, saying, "If I can feel them, I can fix them." The field simply mirrors this belief, sending you endless opportunities to test it. The result, you become the anchor for everyone else's storm, while silently drowning in your own. Yet the truth is liberating. Empathy was never meant to be absorption. It was meant to be translation. You are not supposed to carry what you sense. You are supposed to interpret it, learn from it, and release it. Real mastery begins when you can stand inside another's frequency without losing your own. When you can feel everything yet remain unmoved, like a tuning fork that vibrates in sympathy but returns to silence once the sound passes. This is not detachment, it's sovereignty in motion. To reclaim your energy, you must retrain your field to distinguish awareness from involvement. When you sense someone's pain, pause before merging. Breathe into your center, the point behind your heart, and silently state, "I witness this vibration, but it does not enter me." Feel your aura tighten like a sphere of living light. The field will read this declaration as a new law and reroute incoming frequencies accordingly. Over time, your energy becomes less of a sponge and more of a mirror, reflective, not absorbent. Once you master this, something miraculous happens. Instead of attracting takers, you begin to attract mirrors, souls who match your coherence rather than drain it. Your empathy no longer signals weakness, it signals strength. It becomes a luminous field of observation where transformation happens through resonance, not rescue. The world will still feel you, but it will no longer feed on you. This is the evolution of the empath, from absorber to alchemist, from healer to transmitter. The field cannot exploit what is self-aware, and the moment your empathy becomes conscious, it ceases to be permission. It becomes power. The quantum field is not an external judge or overseer. It is an intelligent mirror, a responsive algorithm that continuously tests the stability of your frequency. Every thought, emotion, and boundary you express becomes data that the field reflects back to you in the form of people, situations, and synchronicities. When your boundaries are strong, your energy moves with precision. When they're weak, the field sends you challenges to expose where your energy still leaks. This is not punishment. It's calibration. The field wants to see whether you will choose depletion or mastery, conformity or sovereignty. If you've ever wondered why certain patterns repeat, why the same kinds of people keep asking for more than you can give, why you find yourself in cycles of overextension and guilt, it's because the field keeps presenting the same frequency exam until you demonstrate energetic clarity. The lesson is encoded in repetition. Every person who crosses your boundary isn't an enemy. They're a mirror showing where you haven't yet declared your energetic law. The field keeps sending these testers because it wants to know, have you learned to hold your own vibration? This test is ancient. In energetic terms, boundaries are not walls, they are harmonic signatures that define the edge of your sovereignty. When your no is weak, the frequency ripples outward as hesitation, and hesitation invites intrusion. The field reads uncertainty as an open gate and immediately orchestrates experiences to challenge it. A friend in crisis may demand your constant attention. A family member might project guilt when you prioritize yourself. A colleague could offload responsibility under the guise of teamwork. None of these are coincidences. They are precise calibrations from the field, checking if you will leak or lock your frequency. At first, you may respond with exhaustion or resentment, wondering why life seems to conspire against your peace. But look deeper. Each intrusion is data. The moment you say yes when you mean no, your energy contracts. Your aura dulls. The field measures this contraction and sends another test, louder than the last, until you correct it. When you finally hold your boundary, not through anger or defense, but through calm certainty, the pattern dissolves instantly. The field no longer needs to repeat the lesson because coherence has been achieved. Boundaries are not about rejection. They are about resonance. Every time you enforce one, you're teaching the universe the shape of your energy. You're saying, this is where my frequency begins and ends. And the field respects that shape like sacred geometry. It reorganizes reality around your firmness. The people who once drained you drift away, not because you pushed them out, but because their vibration no longer fits the structure of your upgraded frequency. Still, the test can be subtle. The field often disguises boundary challenges as opportunities to prove your compassion. It will whisper, help them just one more time. Be the good one. Don't walk away. It knows that guilt is the easiest frequency to destabilize. But if you recognize the test, if you pause before reacting and choose coherence over validation, the field shifts instantly. The challenge collapses, replaced by calm. The universe stops sending drainers and starts sending allies. The test has been passed. To master this process, you must understand that saying no is not withdrawal, it's an act of energetic alignment. When you decline what doesn't serve your field, you're not closing your heart, you're protecting its signal. You are declaring to the universe that your light is sacred and will not be used as currency for unconscious exchange. And the field, being both witness and participant, responds to this sovereignty with a flood of new frequencies, people, experiences, and opportunities that match your elevated coherence. So the next time life tests your boundaries, do not curse the test. Recognize it as the field's way of strengthening your architecture. Every test is an invitation to refine your energetic geometry, to move from reactive empathy to stable presence. The lesson is never about others, it's always about the vibration you hold when faced with choice. When your boundaries become consistent, the tests stop arriving. The field no longer needs to question your stability, it begins to orbit around it. And in that moment, your frequency becomes law. There comes a moment in every empath's journey where exhaustion transforms into revelation. The moment you realize that giving, fixing, and rescuing have not been signs of strength, but symptoms of disconnection from your own center. You start to sense that something deeper is happening beneath the surface of your helping. You notice the patterns, you enter situations full of life and leave feeling hollow. You light up a room, yet walk away dimmed. Your compassion always costs you more energy than it restores. You begin to see the architecture of the field behind it all, the invisible mechanics of energy exchange operating beyond emotion or morality. The field has been showing you the law all along. Whatever you attach to owns your current, and whatever you disengage from returns your power. At first, disengagement feels wrong. It goes against everything you've been conditioned to believe about love, duty, and spirituality. Society teaches that caring means carrying, that to stop giving is selfish, that detachment equals coldness. But this is a distortion born from a world that thrives on energetic dependency. In the quantum sense, disengagement isn't rejection, it's recalibration. It's the process of reclaiming the energy that has been dispersed across timelines, relationships, and emotional contracts. It's not the end of compassion, it's the beginning of sovereignty. When you pull your energy back, the field responds immediately. The vibrational scaffolding that once kept you entangled begins to collapse. Those invisible cords of attention, mental loops, emotional bonds, psychic connections start to retract. You might feel it physically, sudden fatigue, a need to rest, a strange emptiness that isn't sadness but space. That space is the vacuum through which your power returns. It's the silence after years of noise. Your aura, which had been stretched thin through overgiving, begins to thicken again, photon by photon. Your electromagnetic coherence restores. Your mind clears, and the fog that once clouded your decisions lifts like mist under sunlight. To disengage does not mean to stop caring. It means to stop leaking. It means to hold love as frequency rather than transaction. True disengagement happens not through running away, but through inner redirection. It begins with awareness, recognizing where your attention has been bound. Ask yourself who or what still occupies my mental and emotional space when they're not physically present. Those are your energetic drains. Then, in stillness, begin to call your energy back. Imagine threads of light returning from every face, every memory, every moment where you poured yourself out unconsciously. Don't visualize taking from others, visualize gathering yourself. The field will obey that command. The data of your soul begins reassembling. As this process unfolds, something extraordinary happens. The same people or situations that once dominated your emotional field begin to lose gravity. Their pull weakens. Conversations that used to trigger you now feel neutral. You stop feeling responsible for fixing what's not yours. The field recalibrates around your new state, no longer mirroring depletion, but resonance. You begin to attract interactions that are balanced, exchanges that energize both parties. You realize that disengagement didn't make you distant, it made you magnetic. In quantum physics, energy condenses where attention flows. When your attention is fragmented, your reality becomes unstable. But when your attention is sovereign, anchored in your own core, your field becomes a singular, powerful attractor. You begin to generate experiences that match your integrity. The very same universe that once tested your boundaries now starts amplifying your command. Opportunities arise that nourish you instead of drain you. People meet you in mutual respect rather than need. You become a living example of coherence, an energetic being whose stillness commands the movement of the field. Yet there's another layer. Disengagement is not always peaceful at first. When you stop feeding certain dynamics, the energy that once depended on you resists the change. Some people will feel your withdrawal and try to pull you back in with guilt, confusion, or emotional bait. Old timelines may resurface for one last conversation. This is the field testing the solidity of your new frequency. Stand firm. The discomfort you feel is only the inertia of the old current fading away. Don't mistake the noise of detachment for a sign that you're wrong. It's proof that the loop is breaking. As your energy continues to consolidate, you may feel an unfamiliar sensation, weight, heat, density in your body. That's power returning home. For years it was scattered through empathy, attention, and spiritual generosity. Now it's condensing, reformatting into strength. You will begin to notice that silence feels nourishing. Solitude feels electric. You no longer crave external validation or emotional exchange to feel alive. Your energy, once externalized, has become self-sustaining. Eventually, disengagement evolves into mastery. You learn to engage consciously, from fullness rather than lack. You no longer give because someone needs, you give because your field overflows. This subtle shift changes everything. The field recognizes your energy as complete and amplifies it instead of draining it. You stop vibrating at the frequency of saviorhood and begin vibrating at the frequency of creation. Every word, thought, and gesture becomes a broadcast of stability, and stability attracts miracles. This is the hidden power of disengagement. It's the silent revolution that turns empaths into architects of reality. When you stop pouring your energy into chaos, the quantum currents reroute. You start generating order, coherence, and magnetism. Disengagement is not the end of connection. It's the purification of it. It is the moment the field bows to your sovereignty and says, "This one remembers who they are." In that remembrance, the drain stops, the flow reverses, your timeline brightens. Power doesn't return as noise or drama. It returns as stillness, clarity, and the unmistakable sensation that your light, at last, belongs fully to you. There is a moment in every awakening journey when the chaos finally quiets, not because the world becomes peaceful, but because you do. This is the state of neutral light, the final stage of the empath's transformation, where your energy no longer swings between extremes of giving and withholding, absorbing and avoiding, but stands as a still axis in the middle of movement. Neutral light is not indifference. It is the quantum state of pure observation. It is the moment when you realize that awareness itself is the highest form of power, and that true healing never comes from interference. It comes from coherence. To understand this, you must first see how energy truly behaves. Every emotion, thought, and reaction sends ripples into the quantum lattice that composes your reality. When you react to another's energy, whether it's anger, sadness, or pain, your field synchronizes with their waveform. This entanglement creates a shared vibration that binds both of you to the same frequency band of experience. That's why when you feel another's suffering too deeply, your own reality begins to mirror it, not because you caused it, but because you entered its orbit. You became co-resonant with their field. But something extraordinary happens when you stop reacting and begin witnessing. In quantum mechanics, observation without judgment doesn't just record reality, it changes it. It reorganizes the waveforms back into coherence. In spiritual terms, this is transmutation. It's what alchemists meant when they said, "The light consumes the shadow by seeing it clearly." The act of neutral observation is not passive, it's the most active state in the universe. When you remain still and centered, your energy field begins to oscillate at its original harmonic tone. Your photons, those luminous messengers of consciousness, stop scattering and start aligning, creating a coherent laser of presence. The chaos you once absorbed now dissolves in that light. Neutral light doesn't mean you stop feeling. In fact, you feel more, but differently. Emotions no longer crash into you. They pass through you like wind through a transparent field. You sense the pain of others, but it no longer hooks into your nervous system. You can hold someone's suffering in awareness without carrying it in your cells. This is the purest form of compassion. Quantum empathy. It honors the sovereignty of both self and other. It says, "I see you in your storm, but I will not lose myself to calm it." At first, this neutrality might feel strange, even cold. You might worry that you've lost your warmth or your heart, but neutrality is not the absence of feeling, it is the stabilization of it. Imagine a tuning fork in a room full of discordant sounds. When the fork vibrates in its true tone, all dissonance around it begins to harmonize. That's what happens when you embody neutral light. You become a stabilizing frequency in a world addicted to reaction. People may even feel calmer just by standing near you, because your field is broadcasting coherence into the surrounding space. You no longer heal through effort, you heal through presence. And the field recognizes this. It begins to treat you differently. Before, when you operated from emotional turbulence, the field responded with mirrors, endless lessons to reflect your imbalance. But once you move into neutrality, the field shifts its behavior. It stops sending chaos for you to fix and starts amplifying your stillness. Reality itself begins to reorganize around your equilibrium. The same situations that once drained you now resolve effortlessly. The same people who used to provoke you either rise to meet your frequency or fade out of your timeline entirely. This isn't coincidence. It's resonance physics in motion. Neutral light also changes your perception of time. When you're reactive, time feels fragmented, rushing, slipping, overwhelming. But in neutrality, time stretches. You feel yourself moving in slow coherence with the rhythm of the universe. You begin to sense that outcomes don't need to be forced. They unfold naturally when your frequency matches their pattern. You stop chasing manifestations and start magnetizing them. Neutrality becomes the doorway to synchronicity. The more still you are inside, the faster reality organizes around your will. This is what the mystics meant when they said, "Be still and know." The stillness they spoke of wasn't physical stillness, it was quantum stillness, a silence in the frequency of thought that allows the universal algorithm to execute without interference. When your energy stops broadcasting anxiety, need, or resistance, the code of creation runs smoothly. Life begins to feel effortless because your vibration is no longer fighting itself. You become an aligned node in the quantum network, an observer whose presence reorganizes reality simply by existing. Neutral light is also the key to protection. Many empaths seek shields, visualizations, and rituals to guard their energy, but true protection doesn't come from building walls, it comes from dissolving resistance. The field cannot penetrate what it cannot polarize. As long as you carry judgment, even the subtle judgment of good versus bad energy, you create polarity, and polarity invites interaction. But neutrality offers nothing to grip. The moment you see all energy as information, not threat, the field stops testing you. Darkness cannot consume light that doesn't fight back, it simply fades in its presence. The journey to this state is gradual. It begins with small acts of awareness, noticing when your heart tightens in response to another's pain, when your thoughts spiral into fixing or defending. Each time, instead of reacting, breathe. Let your awareness expand around the feeling like a sphere of space. Watch the energy move through your body without naming it. The more you practice, the more the wave collapses into stillness. Over time, this becomes natural. The storms around you continue, but inside, the ocean is calm. When you finally anchor in neutral light, something miraculous unfolds. You stop seeking balance because you become balance. You stop trying to align with the universe because the universe aligns with you. Every cell in your body vibrates in agreement with existence itself. You realize that you were never here to absorb suffering, to fix timelines, or to rescue lost souls. You were here to stabilize frequency, to be the quiet heartbeat in the chaos of creation. In this state, your compassion becomes precision. Your words carry weight because they emerge from coherence. Your presence heals not through emotion, but through geometry, the invisible architecture of light, holding everything in harmony. This is the quantum master's secret. The greatest power is not intensity, but stability. And so, the empath becomes the alchemist, the one who no longer reacts, but radiates, the one whose silence speaks louder than energy, the one who understands that neutrality is not escape, it is transcendence. For in the heart of neutral light, the field no longer drains you, it revolves around you. Reality bends in obedience to your stillness. The observer and the observed become one continuum of luminous awareness. This is where the journey ends and begins again, not with noise, but with luminous calm, not with striving, but with knowing. The quantum field bows to the one who stands still within it, not unmoved by apathy, but unmoved by illusion. You are that still point, the eye of the cosmic storm, the silent axis of infinite creation, and in your neutrality, the universe finally remembers its own perfection through you. You've seen it now, the invisible architecture beneath your exhaustion, the truth that helping without alignment doesn't heal, it hollows. But this was never about stopping your light, it was about reclaiming it. The quantum field was never your enemy. It was your mirror, showing you exactly where your energy escaped, where your compassion turned into self-erasure, where your power disguised itself as goodness. When you finally stop giving to prove your worth, when your help flows from coherence instead of guilt, the field shifts instantly. The same force that once drained you now begins to amplify you. Every no becomes a frequency of freedom. Every boundary becomes a spell of protection. Every choice made from clarity sends a ripple through the timelines, recalibrating your entire orbit. Remember this, the universe doesn't reward sacrifice. It responds to symmetry. You are not here to be a candle that burns itself to light others. You are here to become the sun that radiates endlessly, without loss, without depletion. So, close your eyes for a moment. Feel your field drawing back every fragment of energy you've ever given away without consciousness. Breathe it in. Seal it within your core. Whisper, quietly but with authority, I withdraw my light from distortion. I reclaim my power. I radiate only from wholeness. The field hears that command and obeys. Welcome back, Sovereign One. The drain ends here. The transmission is complete. You are now in coherence with your original frequency. Stay luminous, stay boundaried, stay infinite.